Uh, Hello, this is Landscape History and Integrity again. I've been seeing things on the news or the various things that I watch that are related, that are news. It's not mainstream media. I don't watch a lot of mainstream media anymore. I used to watch it constantly. But the topic I think is that I wanted to talk about, raise, and consider at this point is about political assassination. People who, and circumstances where folks have used assassination in order to gain or to preserve power. And this is a very old subject. It's been going on for many centuries. Uh, we can go back in time. Ramses III of Egypt was killed by his wife so that her son could take power. We Jezebel, if you know the Old Testament, you know the story of Jezebel, and she was a conniving, scheming woman, and her husband, who was king, died, but she ruled through her sons, or maintained power through her sons for a while until they needed to get her out of the way. And the guy who came in and took over had her servants throw her out the window, and she, as you know, was trampled by horses and eaten by wild dogs. It's a pretty messy story in the Old Testament. Everybody knows about Julius Caesar. I won't go into that. That was 44 BC. Ramses was way back 1155 BC. Good King Wenceslas, the song, the Christmas song, Good King Wenceslas, was killed in 935 by his ambitious younger brother. Thomas Becket was killed in 1170 by four knights of Henry II, who Henry had was sort of exasperated with Becket because he was a good friend and he had appointed him to be chancellor, but he was also Archbishop of Canterbury, and because he was a churchman, he had to stand up for certain things, and so that put him in conflict with his friend, who moaned one uh, evening about, what are we going to do about this, and so his knights thought, well, he means let's go, not he needs to be taken out, so they did. So that was an assassination, not on purpose so much. uh, Giuliano de' Medici, one of the Medicis who ran Florence for about 300 years, was assassinated in 1478. They were, of course, a very powerful banking family. They had four popes, and ironically or interestingly, his the pope at the time knew that they were going to knock him out. So that was an assassination. And we've had there's been many. As you go over the list of assassinations, many of them are maybe they hurt somebody's feelings in some way, and obviously that's a problem. But these are that I'm going over now are clearly where somebody was trying to either gain or preserve power. Uh, Henry the Ninth of France in 1610, he was known as Good King Henry, and he was a good guy, but unfortunately he was very indecisive about whether things should be Protestant or Catholic, and in that day and age that was not a good thing to be indecisive about. So he ruffled somebody's feathers, and they took him out. But although he was good King Henry, of course, people know about the Archduke Ferdinand, who the World War One ostensibly was started over, and I think there was certainly more going on here than just some upset Serbian wanting to knock him off. But he was killed. There was a group called the Black Hand, which was Serbian, and so I think there was more politics going on there, and maybe some politics mixed with some personal gain by other power brokers. But 1914, Pancho Villa, y'all may have heard of him concerning Mexico. He was part of the revolution against the government of Mexico. Finally, they came to peace, and he retired for a while. And then he decided he wanted to get back into politics in some way. And one day he and his group were killed by a group of 7 gunmen. So that wasn't just an accident either. So these are political power broking kind of assassinations, and we're in a very volatile times right now. There's a lot of power broking that is going, a lot of fighting over power, and it's, you can tell it's been a very ugly political season, or a series of seasons. Uh, it wasn't, but until before 10 years ago, a president would get elected, and they always had a 100-day money honeymoon where nobody really said anything ugly about them or anything, and or complained about anything until 100 days after their inauguration. And well, in the last several since the 16 election, the knives have been pulled, and people have been screaming and yelling from immediately after election day in November. So it's been a very rough time for civility and peace in our streets, etc. So here we are. We've got people who are threatening to knock off the president-elect, because he's talking about cutting the defense budget, or he's talking about cutting bureaucracy, the energy department, the agriculture department, the interior department, obliterating the education department, and treasury, etc. So there's people who, somebody's making the threats, whether they're threats that have any reality behind them, who knows? But they're there, and we typically we would probably think, well, these are just people blowing off steam. People, I want to kill you. And they don't really mean that. But in this case, we know that people have taken a shot or two, or attempted to take a shot at Trump already, and even that circumstance, these are curious things. The Pennsylvania attempt just makes no sense. We've seen they went through the hearings. I personally, for maybe a month, at least a month, if not longer, I was keeping up with all the videos. There's all kind of people who were had certain kind of expertise. Either they were expert marksmen, or they knew things about audio, and they were analyzing the sound of the gunshots, or they were people from the police, or National Guard, or state police, etc. People who had some kind of background, who were all sort of getting together and discussing and debating about, well, some people thought that for sure it came from the water tower. Some people thought it came from the window on the west end of the building. Some people, no, we see light. They had to come from the building in front, and wondering what happened to the people who were supposed to be in the sharpshooters. Why did they leave their post? Yada yada yada. And there's, personally, as I listen to some of them, it's just they never made sense. When you look at reality, and that's why I look at it all, so that I can hear the different arguments, and then I can come up with something sensible for my own satisfaction. And so most of what I heard made no sense, and there was one window that seems like nobody ever talked about, and I always was curious, why was that one window never mentioned by anybody? So I missed something somehow, but it was a window that was curious to me. But regardless, the thing that's funny is that we never got any real information. The guy was shot. They got rid of him like that with his body. He's gone. His blood is gone. The crime scene is clean very quickly. Nobody knows anything. So that tells me that something pretty sneaky went on there. That too convenient that some kid crawled up on the roof, and a kid who was not a marksman, and managed to do what he did. Yeah. But anyway, these things happen. That's the point. These things happen. We should not be surprised if they continue to happen, especially right now. So I'm sure the president-elect, as well as the current president, I'm sure everybody's very keen about this issue. I'm not saying anything that they're not very aware of and taking care of themselves. But these things do happen. We can look throughout history, as I shared with you tonight. This is a very short list. I didn't bother to get into the many assassinations that have happened around the world just in the last 50 years, political leaders, etc., who are clearly shot. Sometimes somebody's just shot because they offended somebody's sensibilities, but typically it's one power group who's trying to maintain or preserve or to gain power. So I think we need to pray for peace, and we need to pray for civility. And so join me and let's do that. For now, have a good day.